Welcome again, friends, to our satsang. And today I'll be speaking about the Guru, the blessings the Guru offers us, how we are influenced in our life beneficially by the presence of a true Guru, which is a true blessing if we have one in our life. Gurus are one with God. They are one with the divine light. They are one with the divine love. They are infinite consciousness. But they take a human form out of compassion. Because it is better that way, that we can relate to them, that we are comfortable with them, and that we can trust them. Our human nature makes us feel that we need a human form to relate with, to recognize. And that's why they come in the form and get reincarnated. They don't need to. The Guru comes here to help us believe in the divinity in ourselves, to help us feel the grace within us, which is never ending, to awaken us to all this, which is our true heritage, divine heritage. Paramhansa Yogananda came into this world. He incarnated and he brought with him the teachings, the techniques, incredibly powerful. But he also brought with him compassion, divine love, blessings, vibrations, by which he purifies us. When we tune into the Guru, we can commune with him and make him a part of our life. And then what blessings pour. When we are in troubled times, he is an anchor for us. Deviji once said in a talk, Nayaswami Deviji, she told a beautiful story which I want to share now. That once a lady came to Ananda village to the expanding light retreat, and she found some of the members in the kitchen. They were preparing a meal for the next day. A big banquet was to be held for a function, and so they were busy working. And she said, I have come here only to tell you this true experience which has happened to me. I don't know what you do. She was not a disciple. I don't know what you do here, but I had come some months ago to the Expanding Light retreat to spend a weekend just to be with myself. And in my visit, I also visited the boutique. And there I found a photograph which attracted me a lot. The face was so divine. She didn't know that it was Paramhansa Yogananda. She didn't know if it was the photograph of a woman or a man. She just loved the face, the love emanating from his eyes. And she bought the picture. It was a small picture, just a wallet-sized picture. And when she went back home, she put it on a shelf in the living room, very near to the entrance door. She said she had a difficult phase in her life and she was to be married to a wonderful man. They were both very happy and they were engaged and the marriage had not happened yet. But he met with an accident one day and she was devastated, heartbroken. Her whole world fell apart. She didn't know what to do. And over the days, she felt that I want to give up my life. And so she gathered up her courage, picked up her car keys, and she thought, I'll drive my car over a cliff, and that will be the end. So After picking up the car keys, she proceeded towards the door. And the picture on the shelf grew bigger and bigger. And the picture became so big, it became life-sized and stood between her and the door. And all that the person in the picture did was move the head, shaking the head as though saying, no, don't do that. And she was so entranced with that vision, she sank down on the couch and left the car keys, and she did not end her life. She told the members of Ananda that I wanted you to know this, and that is why I've come. She didn't learn meditation. She didn't come back to Ananda at all. The woman went away and was never seen again. The power of the Guru. He helps those who follow the path. He helps those who only know about the path. He also helps those who just pray. Thousands of lives have changed by Yogananda's appearance on this planet. Thousands and thousands will be influenced and beneficially influenced in the coming future as well. This is what Master said. Master said, whoever comes with an open heart, no one will go back empty-handed. This was his promise, the promise of divine love. Now, divine love versus human love, there is no difference. Once Nayaswami Deviji said this. There is only a difference in degree. Don't we love in a human way? We feel that in our hearts, right? So what is divine love? It's a higher degree, that's all. But it's also unconditional. It doesn't want anything back in return. Human love sometimes can be, what will I get in return, isn't it? But it's not the case with divine love. Excuse me, 1 minute. And this love, once we feel it, the divine love, our lives are changed. And when I came to my Guru, Paramhansa Yogananda, I didn't know what I was getting into. I had read the autobiography of a yogi and I said, oh, I want to learn this Kriya Yoga very much. I would love to meditate. I didn't know what is meditation either. And when I came and I took my discipleship, the years of my discipleship gave me a living presence of the Guru. It was the Guru's favor on me, his blessing, that I could feel his living presence in his eyes. And of course, he does that to all his disciples. And when we go anywhere, we take the Guru with us. Come, Guru, come with me. Especially if we are going somewhere where we feel apprehensive. Like I had an eye operation last year. And I really thought I won't be going there without Babaji and Master. And I entreated them, come with me, be with me, hold my hand. And true to their word, they were there. Babaji was holding this hand, Master was holding this hand. And all the while throughout the operation, I was saying, Om Babaji, Om Master, Om Babaji, Om Master. I was visualizing them. And the operation was not successful. As many of you already know, the doctor's hand moved and a tiny blood vessel was cut. So they couldn't fit the lens at that time. Never mind the complications. But that was a blessing. because it was not the doctor's fault, as it appears to be. When they were already holding my hands and they were already with me, it is they and Divine Mother who shook the doctor's hand and said, this one needs some mitigation of karma. And we are going to take a lot of her karma and mitigate it with a little suffering, not much. And so the days that went after that, I was only in bliss. I was feeling the blessings of the people who cared for me, of all the people who came, who filled me with their love, their care. I was floating in the blessings of divine love. I will never forget that experience. Luckily, I can see today my eye is fine. Again, the Guru's grace. But coming to a beautiful story about a lady, she wanted to go to the US. Actually, she wanted to go to the Ananda village for a Anand Yoga course. She heard about it and she wanted to go to California, and she didn't have a visa, and she wanted to apply for a visa, and many of her friends and family members had applied and they were rejected. So in those days, the visas were very, very difficult. I don't know about today's situation, but very, very difficult to have. But she was trained like a lawyer. And so she did everything very properly. She got a formal invitation from Ananda, a letter, and she prepared all her documents very carefully in a lawyerly manner. And then she rehearsed a speech. She went on rehearsing one speech which she would speak there. And she went, finally she was in front of the consul. And you won't believe, she went blank. She couldn't think of the speech at all. All that her mind was repeating automatically without her will was, I love you, Master. I love you, God. I love you, Master. I love you, God. She was repeating that again and again. I love you, Master. I love you, God. And she had so many documents, she forgot to give it. She only gave the letter of invitation. And all the documents were lying in her purse. She just forgot about them, those carefully made documents. And the consul, he looked carefully at the invitation, letter of invitation. And then with a warm smile, he said, oh, so you are going to get trained in yoga. That's very nice. Yoga is a very good discipline to learn. And he gave her the multiple entry visa. And yet her mind was blank. She was just repeating, I love you, Master. I love you, God. This is the way blessings pour to the disciples, but there is also protection from the Guru. The Guru's protection is a beautiful way in which the disciples bathe. Nayaswami Anandi, who is passed now, she had related a true story about when she was working in the kitchen in the Ananda meditation retreat. Now, this is a very small place, not very small, small in the sense of it's much smaller than Ananda village, which is 5 kilometers away. And people come there for seclusion, for the silence, for meditating. And so there are guests also there. And she was preparing a meal, a dinner for the staff and the guests in the kitchen when she heard a sound of an airplane. And she recognized that that sound was of a borate bomber. And that, what is borate? Borate is fire retarding chemicals, which that borate bomber throws on the place where the fires are caught, where the forest catches fire. And forests catch fire very quickly, especially if there's a wind, then the fire can spread a lot. So when she heard that, and and she looked around outside the window. She couldn't see any fire. She couldn't smell any smoke, nothing. She went back to her work, and the other staff, one staff member, quickly came into the kitchen to phone the fire department. Before he could just phone the fire department, the sound of the falling of the borate, a big load, was just hardly 200 yards away. There was a cabin next to the kitchen, and the cabin was fully on fire. They hadn't noticed it. But how come the borate bomber noticed it? He was already on another mission to offload borate in another area, and passing by, he saw that fire. He immediately called his headquarters and asked permission to offload some over here. He did that. And within 1 minute, the fire department came and doused that place full with water, and the fire was extinguished. Now, the staff member had just phoned the fire department. How could they come in 1 minute? It takes them quite a while to come there. So it was that the sequence of events were opened out later, that a little child was driving his bicycle by and there was no fire in the cabin. Just 10 minutes before the fire, suddenly the fire came. The bomber was passing by. He saw, got the permission, put the borate, and the fire department had received the call from the bomber. So immediately before the phone went there, they were already on their way. That cabin was completely in ashes. Luckily, the couple which were staying there, they were not inside, they were out. So they couldn't save anything. Of course, that's okay, all ashes. But nearby in a bush, a page of the autobiography of a yogi was lying stuck. Its paper was all charred on the corners, but the face on that page was untouched. And that was the cover of the autobiography with Master's face on the frontispiece, untouched. So we know the power which helps us, protects us in every way. The Guru's protection is with us, blessings are with us. One day there was a lady relative, distant lady relative, and she was very, her behavior was very insulting, derogatory towards me all the time, but we didn't meet often, but whenever we met, it was like that. And I used to wonder why, because I had not provoked her in any way. So after each meditation, I used to pray to Master, bless that lady, bless that lady. And I would send blessings to her after each meditation. The next time she met me, she was so cordial. And she has been ever since. And we share a good, harmonious relationship today. What a blessing. What a blessing. The Guru changes us beneficially. When we change, and we can't change by ourselves, it's the Guru who changes us. When we change by the Guru's help, then circumstances around us also change. And that becomes a blessing again. So with this, I want to say that all present here are mostly Guru's disciples. We are very blessed. And if someone is not, I hope it inspires them to read the autobiography of a yogi and explore these teachings. They are so powerful, so inspiring, so loving, and they show us our true self. The gurus don't come here to show they are great. They are taking us on a journey to show us that we also can be what they are. With that compassion, they take the human form, which of course they are divine consciousness itself. And Adi Shankaracharya said, the greatest blessing in all three worlds, the physical, the astral, and the causal worlds, is to have a true guru